We begin in the Middle East, where truce talks that showed progress over the weekend once again seem to have derailed. In the latest, Israel has opted out of Cairo talks. It says it will not send its delegation to Cairo to discuss a ceasefire and release of hostages from Gaza. Now, according to a senior Israeli official, Israel received an unsatisfactory response from Hamas on the latest framework for a hostage deal that was hammered out in Paris just a week ago. Now, Hamas has refused to address Israel's demand to provide a list of living hostages and to lock down how many Palestinian prisoners Israel must release for every hostage freed. However, a Hamas delegation is in Cairo for the talks. Israel's decision to not send a delegation to the Egyptian capital comes as a blow just after the U.S. signaled that Israel had more or less accepted a deal presented by mediators in Doha. Now, after the talks over the weekend, Washington had said Israel had provisionally accepted a 6-week-long phased hostage and truce deal before Ramadan. In fact, a Hamas official said if Israel were to meet its demands, it would pave the way for an agreement in just under 48 hours. In fact, according to reports, there are at least 3 sticking points before Hamas agrees to a deal. They include 1, a permanent ceasefire, 2, withdrawal of Israeli troops from Gaza, and 3, the return of displaced people from the south to the north of the Strip. Now, the war has pushed Gaza to the brink of famine, and health authorities and the United Nations say increasing the flow of aid is crucial. However, aid deliveries to Gaza have been rare and chaotic. In fact, on Sunday, hundreds of people were seen rushing towards an aid truck carrying bags of flour in Gaza City. Some men, in fact, were seen climbing onto the truck to take large sacks of flour. The scale of the looming starvation has also pushed the United States to airdrop food into Gaza. And meanwhile, Jordan and some other countries have also been airdropping food as well. However, aid agencies and human rights groups have criticized the move, calling it both expensive and ineffective. Meanwhile, U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris has called out Israel for not doing enough to ease the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. She also called for an immediate ceasefire.
And given the immense scale of suffering in Gaza, there must be an immediate ceasefire. For at least the next 6 weeks, which is what is currently on the table. This will get the hostages out and get a significant amount of aid in. This would allow us to build something more enduring, to ensure Israel is secure, and to respect the right of the Palestinian people to dignity, freedom, and self-determination. Hamas claims it wants a ceasefire. Well, there is a deal on the table. And as we have said, Hamas needs to agree to that deal. Let's get a ceasefire. Let's reunite the hostages with their families. And let's provide immediate relief to the people of Gaza.
Now, scenes of combat in Gaza are intensifying as talks go on in Cairo. The Israeli military says it has destroyed dozens of Hamas targets in a blitz of both air and artillery strikes. In fact, the northern part of Gaza has been largely destroyed after about 5 months of punishing attacks from Israeli forces. And at least 90 people have been killed in just the last 24 hours. And over 30,000 people have been killed, and more than 85% of the total 2.3 million population is now displaced. And with just a week left until Ramadan begins, time may be running out to broker a comprehensive ceasefire.
From impeachments to inaugurations, if it's a political story, we are on the scene. The race for the White House is heating up.
We're beating Biden.
How dare he say that?
If it's breaking news, we're live with the latest coverage. From the White House, the State Department, and Capitol Hill, we know the issues, but above all, we know the players to bring you the latest in-depth analysis on all the key stories that we're covering. I'm Eric Ham. Join me from Washington here on Firstpost America.